Last time you were here, the 10-year yield was about 15 basis points lower. You talked about inflation and the risks of an overheating economy. We've gotten some pretty decent numbers. What does Donald Trump have to be concerned about? You said if we throw too much kerosene on the economy, it's going to be bad. In the past 6 years or so, that kerosene has been lower rates in QE. What does Trump have to be concerned about?
The pace of his multiple stimuli, and it's a dangerous game when the first thing you learn in business, don't kick your banker in the face. Your banker in this case is China and Middle Eastern sovereigns that have traditionally bought our credit, bought our debt, our excess debt, our deficit spending, and he wants to increase defense spending and he wants to do infrastructure spending, so we need revenues. And we might go down before we go up in terms of tax receipts. If he cuts corporate taxes and cuts individual taxes, I guess the hope is that the economy accelerates enough that other taxes will replace those tax cuts and will grow. It's a leap of faith. I think deregulation or re-regulation, not elimination of regulations. I think it's too much to throw. It's like taking too many steroids at once, right? We have a 4.5. 4.7, 4.8, maybe it's 5.5 because we screw around with the employment rates and we count underemployed people as unemployed.
We start to bring in U6 people.
U6 people. But we don't have 14% unemployment anymore. And in certain industries, there are tremendous holes. So partnering, private-public mentor programs to mentoring people and training them for the jobs that are available. I'm all for infrastructure spending. I'm for deregulation to some extent. For sure, we've over-regulated and strangled certain industries like the banks. And I think corporate tax cuts are useful, and the simplification of the tax code would be great. Individual tax
moderation.
Yeah, I think you may have to step it a little bit, and not be careful about overheating this economy, because if rates rise too fast, and at the same time you put trade barriers on China so they don't buy our debt, they're angry at us.
Yeah.
Rates could spike suddenly hard, and that would be bad for the equity markets. And again, if rates are going up because there's great economic growth, then we're all pretty happy as long as they don't go hog wild. And we do have 20 trillion of debt, right? So we have to pay interest expense on that. Today we pay 2, we're paying 4. That's $400 billion of interest expense we didn't have. Now we do own about 6 trillion of that debt, I think is the last number I saw. So we're paying ourselves.
Right.
But there is 14 billion that's held by third parties. So I just think we have to be careful. I think, and what I'm seeing right now is that I actually like what I'm seeing. I'm seeing some discussion and some thoughtful give and take. So I think that's a good thing.
One area that Trump has not given a ton of details yet. He started to talk about tax. He started to talk about rolling back Dodd-Frank. Infrastructure. He says he wants to spend a lot, but the details of that haven't quite become clear yet. What would you like to see that could spur infrastructure and companies and private industry to get really on board with that type of fiscal spending?
I think it's great. I think infrastructure spending is too bad we haven't done it. So what you need is a lineup of projects, and then you're going to see all these projects, and somebody has to comb through them and decide that there's high ROI, high return on investment on these projects. We don't need bridges to nowhere or paving the road in my summer place in Nantucket 7 times.
What about a wall?
We probably don't need a wall. I'd rather see that go to schools and building a better school system. I don't think that's an issue. I mean, really don't believe that's an issue. But, I'm in the minority there, I suppose. But overall, I think, the infrastructure spending would be great. I mean, some of our airports are a mess and other airports are fine.